Good morning. How are you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. I just want to say thank you for being here, like always. Little technical difficulty this morning, but we are still here. We're here with you right now, and we're sharing this digital space. So again, like always, we always start. Ooh, Lord, we start in the spirit of gratitude and thanks for the who that you are as an individual. Let me turn this down. It's kind of loud. And the who that you are, and the person that you are, and the things that you do. Um, Always. Today is Tuesday. It is November the 8th. For those who have yet to vote, today is the day to vote. For those who haven't gone or didn't go to early voting, y'all gonna be in them lines today. I'm just saying. So make sure you go out and vote to ensure that you're putting whoever that you want in office in office. So again, today is November the 8th. It is a Tuesday. Go ahead and hit those polls just so we can have the right people that are in position to push our culture forward. Peace. Good morning, Miss Selena. Good morning, Miss Morton. Um, so we're talking about lessons sold separately. Let me put the caption up. Lessons sold separately. So how do you see that? Like, how do you see lessons sold separately? What is your take on it? What are your thoughts about it? Hold on, I forgot. Miss Selena's back. Good morning. Welcome back to you. Welcome to be in this space. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your contributions to this digital space. Peace. Good morning, Miss Myrick. Thank you for your contribution to this digital space. Um, yeah. All right. So I'm just gonna jump. Y'all tap in. Take this live and go ahead and share what we're gonna be communicating about today. Because I think it's gonna touch someone. I know, I'm not going to say the word think. I know it's going to touch someone. It's going to put someone in a different space, definitely to learn a little bit more about the word lessons itself. It's going to teach you a little bit about more about the word lessons. So thank you. Take this, share it, flip it, put it into a Facebook group, or just add it to someone's timeline because lessons are sold separately. All right, let's go. All right, for those that don't know anything about the platform, you're watching it on the replay, you're going to get definitions, you're going to get etymologies, and within the definitions itself, there are two colors. It's either going to be red over white or white over red. If I say red over white, look at the words that are in red, and that's what I'm going to be communicating about. If I say white over red, look at the words that are in white, and that's what I'm going to be communicating about. But like what we have changed this past week, when I say red over white, I want to learn from you about how you see the that thing. So if I say red over white, you look at the words that are in red and define it for yourself. Put in the chat like I see this as this, whatever. So that's what I want you to do. All right? Bet. I think that's clear enough. I think that's easy enough because this is going to be interactive because I want lessons to be learned by you as well as I want lessons for me to learn from you. So as I give it, I am open to receive it. I think that's fair. So this is interactive. This is between you and I. I am talking to myself. We're just opening this digital space to where you're able to see it. So I'm not talking at you. I'm talking with you. All right, so let's go. Lessons sold separate. Really? That's what you're going to do, laptop? All right, bet. I'll manually do it. All right, so lessons sold separately. The first definition of lessons, it says an occurrence, example, or punishment that serves or should serve to warn or encourage. That's what it says, the first definition of lessons. Again, everything that I show you is something that you can go and take back for yourself and do your own research. So it's not something that don't already exists. It exists. You can Google it for yourself. So it says lessons is an occurrence, example, or punishment that serves or should serve to warn or encourage. And the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is white over red, right? An occurrence. So that means it's going to happen. It's an occurrence that serves to warn or encourage. So that's what we're focusing on. So how do you see an occurrence that serves to warn or encourage? We're talking about lessons. And lessons are truly sold separately. So an occurrence that serves to warn or encourage. Like, what lessons have you learned? Like, it's either going to be a warning to you or it's going to encourage you. But regardless of what you do, it is going to happen. It's an occurrence that there is nothing that you can do to stop it because it is going to happen. But it's what do you do with it? Like, what do you do when you're in that moment of the occurrence? Like, what is it going to serve you? Like, what is it going to benefit you? That's why it says to that serves. Like, how is it benefiting you? Like, how does it serve you? It's either going to warn you or it's going to encourage you. And the second definition that I want you to pay attention to. This thing is tripping and it's aggravating, but we're going to keep going regardless. All right. So the next thing is lessons is a useful piece of practical wisdom acquired by experience or study. I think we can flip this one. Yep, I'm going to flip it. But the first one is red over white. Now, if you see white over red, then say that and then give your why behind how you see it. Or if you see red over white, just put the word red, a dash, and how you see the red. Or if it's white, put the word white, dash, and how you see it. So I see it, again, a useful piece of practical wisdom acquired by experience or study. It's red over white for me. It is practical wisdom acquired by experience. Right? This is just definition. This is something that is in the dictionary. Something that you can define, because a lot of times when it comes to our lessons, we choose not to define it because we're not looking at what are the benefits that we get from it. So the practical wisdom acquired by the experience, again, it's the experience that everyone will receive, but the lessons will only be learned by those who choose to acquire it. Practical wisdom acquired by the experience. Like, what are you doing with your experiences? Because if you're not doing anything with your experience, the wisdom that you take from the experience that you've just gained will not be wisdom. It will just be worry. It will just be situations. It would just be circumstances that you will always constantly and consistently go through because there was no practical wisdom that was used in order for you to acquire or assume the responsibility of the experience that you just gathered. Again, I'm just giving you definition. So let's flip it, right? We're going to flip it. A useful piece or study. So I'll look at the white this way. A useful piece of study, because remember in the previous definition, it says serves. So in order for something to serve you, it has to be something that is useful for you, or you won't allow it to serve you. The same thing as study, because it said an occurrence that serves to warn or encourage. So those things that you study based on the information that has been provided for you by the experience that you're dealing with. So either it's going to be useful, something that is going to be beneficial for you, whether it's good or bad. Because remember, it said to warn or encourage. Like, what useful piece of information that are you going to use? It is going to warn you or encourage you, but it is only going to be acknowledged and acquired by you only if you study the experience to see how useful is it for you. I'm just giving you definition and allowing you to see it in a much more relevant way. You can look it up, but I can honestly say this is my favorite definition: a practical wisdom acquired by experience. Now, remember the word wisdom, and then as it goes forward, because if you don't know what the word wisdom is wise words, ways, and actions. That's wisdom. The things that you say, the words that you use when you say it, the way that you go about doing things, and the actions that you take after you have assumed or acquired the information that you have. Like, you can look at someone and like, man, that's he or she moves very wisely. The words that they say, it is of great wisdom to me. So practical wisdom, like, it's working. Like, you do that. It's practical wisdom, things that you can apply to your everyday, to the everyday things that you do. So the practical wisdom acquired by experience. And the next definition, this one's dope too. I like it too, but not like the other one. Practical wisdom acquired by experience. Like, what's the definition of lessons? Practical wisdom acquired by experience. Like, you sound like you're supposed to put on some glasses when you say that definition. Like, what is the definition of lessons? You just take your glasses out, you put your glasses on, you say, well, the definition of lessons is practical wisdom acquired by experience. They'll be like, what in the world would you get that from, Mr. R2? All right, so this definition, it says the significance of a story or event. The significance of a story or event. Have you ever heard a story and somebody tell a story and you're like, okay, and what? Or someone, you're at an event and you're like, okay, what did we learn from this? So when you say, what do we learn from this? You're really communicating about what is the significance of, like, what is significant about what we're doing? What is significant about what we're communicating about? So you're truly asking, what is the significance of our why? What is the significance of what we're doing? Because it has to be significant in order for you to what? In order for you to acquire the practical wisdom behind or by the experience, it has to be something that is significant of you to do, right? Because if you're talking about a useful piece of study, that means it has to be significant enough in order for you to take that lesson and want to learn from it. So let's go into the etymology. Now, this is where it began to piece some of the other definitions. So remember, wisdom is wise words, ways, and actions. The definition says the practical wisdom of an acquired experience. So now the root of the word lesson, the etymology of the word lesson, is Old French, leçon. I mean, I don't speak French, but I'll try it. Old French for leçon, and or legree. Now, I used to know one of my soldiers used to be named. I mean, wasn't used to be named. I'm sure, I pray he's still alive. His name was Legree. Legree was like, can't get right. So he used to learn plenty of lessons. Now that I know what Legree means, which means lesson, the root of lesson is Legree. So it means to collect or to gather. Now, the root of Legree, which is Leg is to speak on the notion of, or to gather words, to pick out words. Remember, we just talked about the word wisdom, wise words, ways, and actions. Now you're looking at this. What? To speak on the notion of. Stop speaking on things if you haven't learned the lessons about them, because remember, we just talked about the study of, right? Useful information and the study of it. So therefore, to speak or to collect, that means you're collecting the information that you're studying, whether it is life lessons or whether it is some past experience that you've dealt with. Now there is a collection of information and you've gathered your thoughts. Again, in the definition, it says to collect or to gather. So why do we say I need to gather my thoughts? Because it is a collection of the experiences that we've studying now. So we want to gather our thoughts. We want to put all of our thoughts in a space in order for us to look at it and to see if that thing serves a purpose that is going to be beneficial for us to have or to exercise the practical wisdom that we've gathered or have acquired through what? By the experience. And then when we speak on those experiences, we want to make sure that we gather our words and pick out our words. That's when you're applying the practical wisdom, the gathering of the words or the pick out of the words, because it's practical. It's something that you use. So you're not exercising the lessons that you learn if you're not understanding what information are you gathering. What have you collected along the way? Again, I'm just giving you the etymology, the root of it. And I think, like, for me, as I was creating this, it was a huge aha moment for me when you begin to look at, like, lessons are only learned by those who are willing or those who choose to use it. That's why I say the lesson is sold separate. Because until you're willing to pick, or until you're willing to gather, or until you're willing to collect the information, the lessons don't come with the experience. The experience comes with the lesson, because it's separate. You don't acknowledge it until you begin to look at it for what it is. Somebody say lessons sold separately, because it is. So let's take this deep dive. So my question for you is what are your lessons telling you? Right? So what are your lessons telling you? Only you can answer that. Like, what are your lessons telling you? What have your lessons taught you? What sacrifices are you willing to make? Because in order for you to gather something, there has to be a sacrifice for you to choose from the experience to study and to gather your thoughts, in order for you to acknowledge that that is a real lesson. You have to sacrifice the experience for the lesson. Or you can put it in layman terms, like we say, man, I got to chalk that up. Chalking it up is sacrificing the experience for the lesson. But are you willing to sacrifice it? I'd rather learn from a lesson than to be stubborn and to only experience the experience. Because I think when we just experience the experience, it is going to occur again. It is going to happen again. But until you are willing to sacrifice the experience for the lessons, then that lessons will be what? Practical wisdom acquired by the experience. So, one of Martin Luther King's mentors, Mr. Howard Thurman, um, he says, don't ask what the world needs, but ask yourself what makes you come alive. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. Don't ask what lessons did you learn, but ask yourself what were your experience in the lessons. Because you can feel a certain way and be like, you know what? I don't want to feel like that again. Because the lessons in the experience will cause you to become convicted. There is a level of conviction that happens. So because of the lessons in the experience has transitioned into my own personal convictions. In order for me to correct that experience or to acquire the practical wisdom from the experience to make it better. And I want you to look at it from this perspective too, because that's really looking at it from the informative way. Because that's an informative way to inspire you to search from within. Because information is what you go out and get and gather. But to inspire, that's something that you have to dig deep from within and to pull out, because the practical wisdom that is acquired through the experience, that's something that you have experienced that you pull out of you to tell you that this will not happen to me again, because I know what I don't want to feel like. The lessons will always be sold separate. I want you to begin to inform your mind. Because when you inform your mind on the experiences that you have gathered, what happens? You begin to inspire your heart. You begin to inspire your heart to know what you have experienced and the lessons that you have learned through the experience. Because through the toughest experiences, sometimes the lessons will sprout and becomes the biggest blessing and opportunity that you can ever imagine. But it's coming out of our experience. And the lessons are sold separately. Because when you acknowledge that those things exist, then you have the conviction to know what won't happen again. Because when we deal with things in our lives, and sometimes we begin to ask ourselves, like, why do these things keep happening to me? Or why does this happen? Why don't this happen to me like it happens for everybody else? What if you flip that? And what if you said, what can I do with the experience? And what were my contributions to the lessons? What can I do with the experience? And what were my contributions to the lessons? Because when you look at it from that perspective and you're honest enough to say, what were my experiences and what am I going to do with my contribution to the lessons, then you'll be able to gather your thoughts and be able to learn it, because you're looking at it from a transparent perspective and you're gathering the information and you're inspiring your mind to do greater. You are inspiring your heart to be able to feel, to make those corrections, to align yourself with your purpose. Why? Because the lessons are sold separate. The experience is the information, and the lessons becomes what will inspire you to do better, what will inspire you to do different. So inform your mind, gather your thoughts, gather all your experiences, and then inspire your heart to make it better, because lessons are sold separate. All right. What were your takeaways for today? Put down your takeaways inside the chat. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your experience, and let me know what lessons that you learned from today. All right, I appreciate y'all. I pray that your Tuesday be bountiful and your Tuesday be blessed and your Tuesday be beautiful, whatever it is. Blah, 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 blah. But y'all be blessed. Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Peace.